Man, I have failed a lot this year. I'll tell you all about it. I'm going to give you my top 5 failures from 2021. What's going on, everybody? It is Adam from Proper Royals. Thank you so much for joining me today. I got this little girl out for this video. First, I think she's beautiful. Let me get the camera focused on her real fast instead of me. I think she's beautiful, and she is not a failure. This girl is at the very least a banana het clown, and she's a pastel. You can see on her head there, the washout. And there's some other stuff going on there. I'm down to find out what is going on with this girl, so I held her back. And I haven't named her. I think it's time that we name her, so leave some name ideas down in the comments for me. I appreciate it. Back to the topic of the video, though. This topic of failure is, first off, it's pretty harsh. Secondly, I think it's nonsense. So hear me out. We don't say when a kid falls off his bike for the first time, he failed. We say, oh, he learned something. He's going to get better next time. He's going to get back on it, and he's going to crush it. If you don't hit a home run every time at the plate, you're not a failure. There's some quote out there from Ted Williams. I got to look it up. I should know it. I shouldn't just be winging it off the top of my head. He says, baseball is the only sport where you can be the greatest in history and only bat 400 out of 1,000. So we put these pressures on ourselves, and we have this binary success or failure idea, and then we hold ourselves to it. I don't know who needs to hear it. I know I need to hear it sometimes. So if nothing else, I'll talk to myself today. I'm going to steal a quote from Gary Vee, and I'm probably going to misquote it. But to paraphrase, if you're busting your tail, if you're doing good, if you're operating from a good place and you're learning and growing, there is no failure. You're a huge success. Did you meet all your goals? Maybe not. Are you perfect? Heck no. Are you a millionaire and you never have to work again? Probably not. I'm guessing you're not watching my channel if you are. And if you are, I don't knock you. Congrats. If you're doing good, if you're busting your butt, if you're learning and you're operating from a good place, you are not a failure. You're killing it is what you're doing. And you're laying the foundation to continue to kill it. That really is kind of what I needed to hear and what I want you all to hear, because it's overwhelming. We get in this comparison trap, right? We work hard on our ball pythons. We work hard on our breeding season. Things come around, and then what do? We go watch YouTube. We go surf Instagram. We go watch Morph Market, and we say to ourselves, I don't have that. I didn't do that. Oh man, I wanted that and I missed that this year. It's not fair to ourselves. It's not fair to each other either. That breeds a lot of dislike in the hobby if we start comparing ourselves to each other in that weird comparison trap. So I want to tell you about my 5 biggest failures this year, and they're all related. They're all ball python related. So I'm going to put this little girl away, and I'll take you through my biggest failures of 2021. So these are all related, and the biggest failure, the number one failure that's kind of the overarching umbrella for me, is that I did not meet my goal of being profitable this year in 2021. I think most businesses, most snake breeders as well, say aim for the 3rd year, and I really put a lot of pressure on myself to do it in the 2nd year. I wanted to get profitable within this year so that I was making money in 2021, then next year to be a launching pad, both to stay profitable but also to pay off my startup losses from 2020 when I was not profitable either. And I missed. I failed at it. That screenshot right now is my actual current P&L statement showing that loss of a couple $1,000s. Not bad. I invested a lot. I built this whole room. If I hadn't built this room, I guess I would have been profitable, but I wouldn't have the resources and the facility to do what I'm doing. That failure it's a tough lesson, and I've learned a lot from it, and the other 4 failures today all tie back to that. So let's keep going on why I failed at being profitable. Failure number 2 is that part of my plan was to breed 4 of my females and to get 4 clutches this year. And let me tell you, only 2 of them went. And I've studied many reasons why. I've tried to analyze why I think that only 2 out of the 4 went. We'll get to that in a second. But the fact of the matter is, only 2 out of the 4 of those produced clutches. So there was some hard lessons in there. Ifs and buts and candies and nuts and whatever that darn statement is, that saying is, that's what happened. Only 2 out of the 4 went. So there goes a business plan right out the window. 50% of it is gone. So only 2 out of 4 went. I think one of them was overbred. I bought her from another breeder. I think there's a reason why that breeder was selling her. I think she needed to be on a break. So on the upside, she's had a year off. She's huge now. I actually have her paired right in here. And just as of this morning, she crossed 2,500 grams when I weighed her today. So maybe there'll be a benefit on the backside that is this season coming up, where she will be very, very productive and produce a lot of great eggs for me. The other one, I can't speak to it. I don't know. In breeding season or at the end of it, I moved. That's a big change. I moved almost 500 miles. I had to move my facility, moved all my animals. I built this facility. I didn't move it. I built it myself in the garage. So only 2 out of 4 of my initial breeding plans went this year. Fail number 3 is that I totally missed on my odds. Now I know these last 2 things you're saying, Adam, you didn't fail. That's just what the snakes didn't do for you. Yeah, well, I failed because I had a lot riding on what I predicted these snakes would do. So I predicted it wrong and I based business decisions on these things because it's wrong. So I had a clutch of, I only had 2 clutches, so we covered that because only 2 of 4 went. And one of those clutches was an Orange Dream het pied male to a female het pied het albino. I thought I would get at least 1 or 2 pieds. I would be moving forward on my visual projects. I would have a visual, or on my recessive projects, I would have a visual pied that I could get into the mix, either growing it up or, to breed later, a female or a male that I could grow up and get going right away. I got skunked.
Come on, Mojo.
Come on, here we go.
Bring it on, Mojo. Nope. I'm sorry.
Man. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. 0 for 7 on the eggs from that pairing. So not only did I fail at predicting those odds, there's a little concern in the back of my head that one of those animals isn't even het pied. So not only have I failed at the odds, I might have failed at sourcing my animals from reputable breeders. I'm not so sure that that's the case yet. I still like both of those breeders. I still keep in touch with both those breeders. So, I think that there's possibility for a rebound here. And frankly, particularly on the female, I got such a great deal on her. I have no room to complain anyway, other than being disappointed that she didn't prove what she was supposed to be. So that is failure number 3 that really kicked my butt. Failure number 4. I had all these great laid out plans. I'd drawn up my business plan. And like I say, my goal was to be profitable. Not only my goal, my expectation of myself was to be profitable this year. And I will tell you, I grossly overestimated what I thought I could average on a per snake average. So I love metrics. I love looking at averages. I don't like looking at individual examples. You'll drive yourself nuts on the highs and the lows, but if you can look at trends over time in business, that's really where you need to focus your efforts on. There's always going to be huge successes and these horrible failures, but if you don't get caught up in either of those and you look at trends over a long time, that's where you can really gauge and judge your performance. So one way I like to do that is tracking average sales prices of things. So in a restaurant, I track the average spending per person. If I can increase average spending per person and keep costs the same or lower and be more efficient, that equals profitability, etc., etc. Back to the ball pythons, I had this magic number of $500 per snake is what I was going to average. And I learned a tough lesson, and the lesson, first I failed at that. My average this year was right at $300 per snake, and that's my actual metrics right there on my books that I keep on my sales tracking sheets. $300 a snake is still great. I'm happy. Overall, I'm okay with it, but that's my baseline that I want to improve from, hopefully. Here's what I didn't either realize or want to realize. You know, personal bias can be a really tough thing, especially when you're making promises and goals for yourself. You know, so first I thought I would have 4 clutches, and I thought that they would be a little bit more powerful than what I got. Secondly, I thought I would hit some odds. So, you know, a male possible double het versus a female pied 50% het albino is a whole different ball game. We're talking hundreds of dollars difference there. You know, depending on how those visual pairings had gone, maybe, or the recessive pairings had gone, if I had hit on some of those, I could have done better. The fact is that, you know, ifs and buts, they didn't happen. I had a whole clutch of, you know, half the clutch would have been Kryptons. Those are selling like hotcakes right now for incredible prices. Zero, nothing. So, you know, I had to temper those expectations a little bit, and I've learned that that's just going to be the case in the future. The other thing is, for every huge hit that you get, the odds are exactly the same that you'll have a miss, the relative odds. So for every het-to-het that you hit a visual on, you're going to get far more, frankly, that are just possible hets that come out of it. What do you do with possible hets? I mean, those are largely pet grade or very, very entry-level snakes, certainly entry-level prices. My most expensive snake this year that I sold was somewhere right around $700, if I'm remembering off the top of my head. So that's nice. But I also had many that I sold in the $50-ish range as well. So, you know, that was a big failure for me, and I learned a lot from that. My number 5 failure, my last failure for this year, is loosely tied to being profitable, but it was a little bit of a separate goal, and it had to do with social media. My goal in this year, and really from November 2020 to November 2021, was a 1-year calendar year of me being on YouTube, and I wanted to be monetized in 1 year. And it didn't happen. I'm close. I am close. It's hard to call that a failure. That's one of those great examples of why would you choose a binary success or failure on that when I hear you. Close doesn't count, and in real life you gotta make it or you don't. I hear all those hard arguments. On the other hand, what I have to show for it that I didn't realize was how many snakes I sold from YouTube this year. I think I sold 6 or 8 snakes on YouTube. Well, there's a way to consider yourself monetized, and I'm not changing the rules of the game. I wanted to be monetized on YouTube by YouTube standards. However, there were benefits from it. The community is incredible. I started a show that I never thought I would start this year. I'm up well over now 800 subscribers, so I'm close. I think I'm going to hit monetization in February sometime. That's really where the metrics are pointing to. I'll tell you, I learn a ton on YouTube every day, both from watching videos but also making videos. There are strange hurdles, and this almost urban myth, this urban legend of, oh, you start producing on YouTube, you're gonna go viral, you're gonna have all these followers. Man, it's a grind. I have put out 200 videos in a year, 800 subscribers, and that's a lot of work, but I've learned a lot from it. My content has improved. It's given me clarity to the type of YouTuber that I want to be. I've upgraded my camera system. I've learned more about lighting and what I need to do so that I'm conveying a comfortable, pleasant message. And I don't mean that the content has to be pleasant. The way that you absorb it and the lighting and the presentation has to be comfortable. I'm learning about Be Real. I got into it, got out of it, and now I've decided I need to make a return to it for some high quality. I look at traditional videos, live streams, and reels. So I failed at getting monetized on YouTube. I'm still gonna get there, and I've learned a heck of a lot along the way. So what have you failed at? What do you beat yourself up over? Where do we, like, well, let's commiserate and make sure that we each know that we're all right. Feel free to share your experiences. Check out the live streams Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Of course, keep it right here on this channel, and check out these videos. You'll see everything that we do here at Proper Royals on our journey from hobby to business. Till next time, see ya!